Morning, squad. Welcome back to MadMizzy Sports Morning Show, the #1 spot for everything sports talk, sports news, sports debate in the morning. Hope y'all had a great Monday and Tuesday. I recorded a Tuesday episode, but I didn't have time to edit it and post it for you guys, but we got a great rundown this Wednesday. Of course, we got to go back and touch on the huge win by the Georgia Bulldogs on Monday to clinch their second national championship in as many years. Back-to-back national champions, 65-7 over TCU. Then we got to touch on Damar Hamlin being released from the University of Cincinnati Hospital back in Buffalo. Got to bring that up. Shouts out to Damar Hamlin. Then before we move off the NFL, we're going to touch on Justin Fields and should the Chicago Bears think about moving off of Justin Fields, seeing as they had the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Then we briefly going to shift gears to college football, speaking on Blake Corum deciding to return to the University of Michigan for his senior year. Then we're going to shift over to the NBA. Kevin Durant sprained his right MCL and is out for a month. What does that mean for Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and the Brooklyn Nets moving forward? Then to end it off, we're going to speak on the return of Steph Curry last night in a 125-113 loss to the Phoenix Suns. Let's get right into it, gang. So let's go back to Monday night in the national championship game. We had Georgia just beat the brakes off of TCU 65-7. What did I take away from that just utter massacre that occurred on Monday night? To me, it was just Georgia coming out and not overlooking TCU at all, respecting them, giving them all the respect in the world, and not looking at them like, oh, they're from the Big 12 and we should just go out there, we should just run all over them and roll all over them. And it was like, no, they came out with a great game plan, they came out with great execution, and they came out keeping the pedal to the metal and the pressure on TCU. But they scored 48 points to nothing in the last 3 quarters, 48 to nothing. You get what I'm saying? So they just came out, blew the gates off of them from the jump, scored, 17, 24 points in the first quarter. Yeah, TCU had a touchdown and kind of keep it close at that point, but right then and there, you've seen that it was going to be tough sledding for TCU simply because they couldn't stop Georgia. There was nothing they could do to slow down Georgia. So it was going to be all on TCU's offense to keep pace with Georgia, and honestly, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Georgia got too many dogs on that offensive line. On that defensive line led by Jalen Carter. And then you think about that defensive backfield, just playmakers all over that defensive backfield, speed all over the place, and they couldn't never establish that run how they could against my Michigan Wolverines, so they became very one-dimensional, and it was all on Max Duggan's shoulder. It was all on Max Duggan's shoulder. So to me, it was just an all-around beautiful performance from top to bottom from the Georgia Bulldogs to go out there and prove that they are the class of college football right now. I know, of course, we're never going to forget about Bama because they didn't fall off the mat, but right now, I've never seen another team win back-to-back national championships, dominating back-to-back national championships during the Nick Saban era, besides Kirby Smart. So we got to give props where props are due, and Georgia right now is the class of college football, dominating 65-7, and then they beat Alabama in the national championship last year. Now, I know the wide receiver went down, and this, that, and the third. They was winning at that point. Listen, injuries are a part of the game. You either overcome them or they hinder you. So, yeah, I took that as just Georgia sending a message to the rest of the college football landscape that they run college football now. They run college football. Tip my cap to the Georgia Bulldogs. Congratulations to another great year and back-to-back national championships. Shout out to Stetson Bennett, the fourth, 6 touchdowns, record-breaking performance, the most touchdowns in the national championship game, tied with Joe Burrow for that accomplishment. Just an utterly dominating performance from the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's move on though. Damar Hamlin was released from the University of Cincinnati Hospital, is back in Buffalo continuing his recovery. Just want to give shouts out to Damar Hamlin. He is placed on IR, and he did have a clause in his contract to where his salary would drop if he was ever placed on IR, but the Buffalo Bills did inform the NFL and the NFLPA that they will be upholding and honoring his full contract. Shouts out to the Buffalo Bills just being a class organization throughout this entire situation. Shout out to Damar Hamlin for staying strong, staying positive, just staying that loving person that he's been throughout this entire incident, and just keep working, bro. We're going to keep praying for you. Just keep on that recovery path, and hopefully we see you on the field next year, brother. But yeah, man, it's just beautiful news to see that Damar Hamlin, after everything that he's been through, is back in Buffalo. His GoFundMe page has surpassed his goal. So yeah, let's move on. No, let's move on to college football, and we got huge news coming out of the University of Michigan, coming out of Ann Arbor. Blake Corum, number 2, the running back for Michigan, returns for his senior year next year, the 2023 season, saying that Team 144 better be ready because there's unfinished business out there. Hey, this to me, I know I came out and I said J.J. McCarthy, he's going to win the Heisman next year. He probably still will win the Heisman, but with Blake Corum coming back, and then you got Donovan Edwards in that backfield, there's going to be a lot of firepower on offense. We got Ronnie Bell that's leaving, but that's just going to open up the door for some of our younger wide receivers. I see Roman Wilson having a huge year next year, taking a big step forward as far as being a number 1 wide receiver. But yeah, man, I'm super excited. Blake Corum, welcome back to Michigan. That's 1,400 plus rush yards returning. That's 18 touchdowns, 18 rushing touchdowns that's returning. Just stellar performance and stellar contribution returning for the Michigan Wolverines. I'm just excited that he's coming back and the way he's leading this team into this next season of what our expectations are, because he could have easily left. He was the Heisman before he went down. You get what I'm saying? Or he was top 3 in the Heisman race before he went down with his knee injury. So he could have easily left. I'm excited he's coming back to show that he is recovered, he is fully healthy before he moves on to the NFL, and to come back and win a national championship for the University of Michigan. Absolutely love it. I'm excited for next year. Let's move on though. Let's touch on, should the Chicago Bears get rid of Justin Fields, seeing as that they have the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft? In my opinion, you look at Justin Fields last year, Justin Fields had 2,200 plus passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. You think about it, he had 1,100 plus rush yards, 8 touchdowns, the most rushing yards ever in an NFL season, breaking Lamar Jackson's rushing record for quarterbacks. So to me, I'm looking at it and I'm looking at his production on the field. You look at the lack of weapons that he had. Yes, they have a strong backfield with Herbert and those dudes back there, but I didn't think that they had top tier weapons on the outside. So for me, I would give Justin Fields another chance, especially when you look at the top prospect right now is Bryce Young, and Bryce Young is so small. He's like 5'10", small frame. Yes, he's got a good arm. He's got a very accurate arm. He's great at anticipating throws. He's a huge playmaker, but he's very, very small. And the Chicago Bears don't have an O-line. And to me, you look at the landscape of the NFL and the trajectory that is going as far as the successful quarterbacks, you got to have some mobility, or you got to have some extraordinary size like Patrick Mahomes. You get what I'm saying? And Patrick Mahomes isn't super athletic, but he is athletic enough. And then he's big as a mug. You get what I'm saying? He's hard to get down if you get him in the pocket. So Justin Fields, to me, I would give him just that extra shot because he's on that trajectory of the quarterbacks that are successful with his ability to run the ball. And then if y'all get him some weapons out there, I'm pretty sure he'll show the ability to pass the ball consistently. So go out there, get him a quarterback coach, get him a little quarterback whisperer, get him some weapons out there. Now, I don't know who's coming out, but you got the wide receiver from USC. Might want to go get him. Then when Marvin Harrison is ready next year, y'all go get him because y'all ain't going to be able to turn it around just next year. So go out, get a few wide receivers in the next couple drafts to grow with Justin Fields and rebuild that defensive line. I'll probably go out there this year if Jalen Carter comes out with that number 1 overall pick and get Jalen Carter, try to rebuild that defense and start from there. I would go with Justin Fields just because you don't want to restart the process of trying to find a franchise quarterback when it looks like Justin Fields, I mean, without Justin Fields, they are terrible this year. They are putrid. And I don't think that Bryce Young would have done any better in those circumstances. So why would you bring in Bryce Young and not rebuild that roster? Build the roster up, and then if Justin Fields in the next 2-3 years still is showing that he's just more of a running quarterback, then you can move on. But if he starts to progress as a passer as the Josh Allens and the Lamar Jacksons of the world did, then y'all will be in the contention to win the NFC North and win in the NFC. So yeah, just rebuild that roster around Justin Fields. Y'all, he's still young. Y'all gonna have a young core, so y'all, it's not like y'all invest in everything. I would sit tight right now with Justin Fields and try to rebuild with him. Unless somebody blow your socks off with a trade like, yo, we want Justin Fields, we toss you 2 first-round picks, a 3rd rounder. Oh, then I might have to rock with Bryce Young because, listen, Justin, somebody love you. You feel what I'm saying? But, yeah, for me right now, if I'm the Chicago Bears, I'm rebuilding that roster, and I'm going to wait on my decision to keep Justin Fields. I'm going to continue with Justin Fields as my starting quarterback. But let's shift our focus to the NBA. We got the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant out for a month with an MCL sprain in his right knee. What does that mean for the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant moving forward? To me, it's just it's sad to see after a 12-game winning streak with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, then they beat the Miami Heat off of a Royce O'Neal buzzer beater shot after getting a 12-game win streak snapped. So it's just sad to come around now and see that Kevin Durant is going to be out for a month. Is going to be on Kyrie Irving. Is going to be on the rest of that team. To me, they just got to stay afloat in that Eastern Conference. But it's just hard to see how good that the Brooklyn Nets were in that Eastern Conference and the trajectory that they were on, to see their top star that was leading them on this win streak and on this trajectory go down for a month. That's a long time to go down. So I'm just sick at that one. We probably won't see Kevin Durant until right before the All-Star break or probably after the All-Star break. So to me, for Kevin Durant, this is just you just got to go out there, rehab. Kevin Durant, this doesn't mean too much for Kevin Durant. Hopefully it's not going to be anything that's lasting, but Kevin Durant will return. He will come back. He will snap out. But for the Brooklyn Nets and the entire organization, they got to lean on Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving has to lead this team offensively. He has to be that foundation for the Brooklyn Nets right now, and that Kevin Durant was during that win streak. So they got to lean on Kyrie. They got to lean on some of those veterans. They really don't have too much, but yeah, this is just going to be a tough stretch for the Brooklyn Nets. But we did have the return of Steph Curry last night in a 125-113 loss to the Phoenix Suns. What did I see in that performance and the return from Steph Curry? To me, that was just a terrible, unacceptable loss by the Golden State Warriors. You think about the Phoenix Suns, no Landry Shamet, no CP3, no Deandre Ayton, no Devin Booker, and you lose by double digits on your home floor. That is just unacceptable for the Golden State Warriors. To me, they were disengaged. They weren't active. They looked like they were just going to walk through the Phoenix Suns, and y'all already lost 2 games to the Phoenix Suns. So now the Golden State Warriors dropped to 0-3 to the Phoenix Suns, although the Phoenix Suns might not make the playoffs with them losing the way they have been. They just snapped their 6-game losing streak on the Golden State Warriors. But to me, that was just pitiful performance from the Golden State Warriors. They just assumed that they were going to be able to walk through CP3 list, Landry Shamet list, Deandre Ayton list, Devin Booker list, Phoenix Suns, and they didn't. They got stomped out. It wasn't even as close as 125-113. Actually, they was losing by 30 points going into the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly. So yeah, that was just a pitiful performance. But I do want to point out the silver lining. You do have Steph Curry back. You got 24 from Steph Curry, I believe, like 16 in the fourth quarter to try to bring the Golden State Warriors back. The Golden State Warriors did go 6-5 without Steph Curry. You did have Andre Iguodala come back, return last night. You did have Andrew Wiggins on the floor last night. So to me, you just you do got some silver linings out there. They still in the playoff hunt. They're still in that top 8, and then I feel like they'll go on a little winning streak before the All-Star break, and then after the All-Star break, that's when I'll be really expecting the Golden State Warriors to round into the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Let me know what y'all think, though. That beatdown Monday night in the national championship game of the Georgia Bulldogs over the TCU Hornfrogs, 65-7. Are the Georgia Bulldogs the top program in college football right now? Damar Hamlin being released from the University of Cincinnati Hospital back in Buffalo, continuing his rehab and his recovery. Prayers, well wishes out to Damar Hamlin. Blake Corum deciding to return for his senior season to the University of Michigan. 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns. What's the expectations for the University of Michigan with Blake Corum returning to that backfield? Would you trade Justin Fields with the Chicago? If you were the Chicago Bears, would you trade Justin Fields with you having the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft? Kevin Durant is out for a month with an MCL sprain in his right knee. What does that mean for Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets moving forward? Steph Curry returned last night to the Golden State Warriors in a 125-113 loss to the Phoenix Suns without Landry Shamet, CP3, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker. What did y'all see from that performance, and what are y'all expectations for the Golden State Warriors moving forward? MadMizzy Sports Morning Show. Like, comment, share, subscribe, listen, alert. MizzyWorld Entertainment. Gang.